Yo, TenToez family, how y'all doing today? We got a special video today. We got some meltdowns. It's crazy. So, it's about the debt crisis and student loans. So, what's nuts to me is not even a few years ago, you could have a degree, right? And you can go to school, you could do your thing, and you can get an internship, or if not that, you can actually get a job and they'll teach you the experience. They'll give you everything you need, set you up for success. But now, if you guys look at everything that's going on, there's so many things that you need just to get a job. You need so many years of experience, all of this school, all of this, that, just to work at Walmart. So imagine that. You got people that went to school to be a doctor, can't even get a job. And now they're using these requirements just to get an entry level job. And what's sad is I've been in my same job for 5 years and it's been hard to find new work. It really is. And I have a good resume. I have my certifications, like I could work in, I don't want to work in food anymore, but I have my food safeties and my serve saves and all that kind of stuff, so because me, I'm in management, so I have to have that. But it's been a stretch, it's been a stretch to find something new. You can put a job application in for hundreds of jobs and get an interview within like 2 months. So today's rant's going to be about the debt crisis, student loans, and it's going to be about some meltdowns. Yo, check out Talk Rant. I'm going to post their boop page right there. So check them out, give them a like and a follow. And without further ado, let's get into it. TenToez family.
The majority of it is credit card debt and then also a small personal loan, and total that we're trying to pay off is about $45,000.
45.
Get to your stained face. My life has been an absolute hellscape this morning.
So I am $30,000 in debt.
I'm in $71,000 worth of debt right now.
I am in $120,000 worth of debt.
Let me pause it right there, yo. So $120,000 worth of debt. And she doesn't look any more than like 25, 26. And you know what? A majority of that could be student loans. That's what's crazy. You get a job being a dental assistant, you're paying off your loans while being a dental assistant. You're not even making any money within the first couple of years because you got to pay off those loans. You know what I mean? And those loans aren't cheap. Student loans are not cheap. You guys know. Let's get to it.
Today, we're diving into the world of debt. People are drowning in credit card bills, student loans, and more. Let's see what people on TikTok have to say about their financial struggles. And yeah, one more thing. Subscribe or economy will collapse.
It's already collapsing.
Can we just talk about how soul-sucking credit card debt is for a second? I've been feeling so motivated this whole month, and then I got my Amex bill, and then I had to pay a vet bill, and then I did my taxes last night, and then I had to pay for all my LLC fees since I'm now a TikToker and I'm trying to pay taxes on it. I just feel like it's always something. I have cut out all unnecessary spending and it's still not enough. I have extra income coming in from TikTok, so thankfully everything will be paid for, but I feel like I am skating on such thin ice financially all the time. I am like an eternally optimistic person, so I will always try to see the positive in a situation, but I just want to vent for a second about how tiring it is constantly walking on a knife's edge with my debt.
So I am $30,000 in debt.
Not no more. All my bills are paid. All my debt is gone. I don't gotta pay rent till like February 2025. The debt was weighing heavy on me. So back in April, about mid-April, like April 19th, I started working crazy. And since then, I only missed about 2 days of work. It is now November 6th. Also, I went on a weight loss journey last year. I got down to 157. My goal was 150, but back in April, I got up to 193. I gained.
Let me pause it right there. Y'all hear that? He literally been saving and working hard, got his debts clear. Yo, in today's economy, a rich man is a man with no debts. And it's crazy as it sounds, right? Like being myself, like sometimes I'm not gonna front, like I'm broke sometimes, you know what I mean? I get broke sometimes, but my debts are paid off. Besides the car payment that we have, me and my wife paid off all our debts. So we're debt free. But they still got bills and stuff like that. So, now we can try to start building. But look, he's on a weight loss journey. That's good stuff right there. It is possible if you lock in. Gotta lock in. Let's
All
get
the
to
weight
it.
I lost back. So lowest I got down to 141, which was way past my goal. Right now I'm probably about 146 when I wake up, and when I get something to eat, I'm probably like 150, walk around about 150. So that's a blessing. For the next 2 weeks I'm off. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm sipping this tea right here. But yeah, man, everything's good. I need to go see my barber. I ain't seen him in 2 years. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with this, and I got my surgery on Friday.
I am in $120,000 worth of debt. You heard that correctly. But first, if you're new here, let me explain. My name is Kaylin. I've dedicated my page to talk about my debt-free journey, and we're going to get vulnerable. But let me clarify that statement. Used to be in $120,000 worth of debt. I am no longer in that much debt. So what happened? How did we get there? And what do I currently owe combined? I was a part of a lawsuit, Sweet vs. Cardona. You can see the pinned post on my page where a bunch of students got defrauded from a handful of schools. So of that result, $75,000 of student loans was discharged from my credit. So as you can imagine right now, that significantly helped me with my debt-free journey. I only owe $5,000 in student loans, and I plan to pay that off next year. That's not my focus. My focus at this moment is my biggest debt, which is my credit cards. And I don't plan to file bankruptcy. That's not an option. I feel like paying them will help me become financially responsible and literate. And I love my relationships with the credit cards that I have. I have 2 Amexes, 3 with my credit union, and 1 with Apple. Honestly, they're not like little mom and pop starter credit cards. I would have been consolidated them, but that is why I'm not going into bankruptcy or filing bankruptcy, and I don't want that on my credit for 10 years. Despite what the internet says, please do your research. It is not worth it, in my opinion, especially if you pay it off. So if I had to be honest, like right now, I owe approximately $37,000 in debt. And now I only owe $5,000 in student loans, and it's because I went to a school after the fact and I decided to drop out. Of a result of my discharge, obviously my degree is worthless, which is okay. I'd rather take the discharge. Right now I used to owe $30,000 in credit cards. I'm down to $26,000, and I plan to pay that off in the next year, hopefully sooner. $7,000 on my car. I don't plan to get a new car once I pay this off, baby. We are right into the wheels fall off, okay? I don't plan to get a new car. I think it's just a terrible investment. I didn't really grow up in a home that had a lot of financial literacy, so as I'm learning as an adult...
Let me pause it right there. She didn't grow up in a home with financial literacy. That's literally like 80% of all Americans. That's 80% of all Americans, and they don't even teach that in school, and that's what's sad. They're trying to keep us in the system. They're trying to keep us uneducated and ignorant, and so they could just manipulate us. Like that right there, that's crazy. 80% of the USA has financial literacy. Just remember that. They don't teach it in school. If your parents know what financial literacy is, then you have it. Listen to your parents. They might be a little hard on where you're spending, but listen to your parents. I had to learn that the hard way. Years and years and years and years and years. I had to learn it the hard way. And I'm still learning every day. Let's get to it.
Comes with its pros and its cons. But yeah, I'm curious to know how much debt you are in. Let's make this a safe space.
For real, comment below.
Comments. Please
how much debt are you in?
Share how much debt you are in total. Do you plan to pay it off? What are your goals at this moment? Bye.
I think it's finally time that I tell you guys exactly how much debt I'm in. This is probably my most asked question, and I have been avoiding it for about 2 months now, I think for pretty obvious reasons. But I have been asked it so much, and I finally was just like, why the hell am I hiding it? Like, what does it matter? oh well. So here we are. So this number does not include our actual mortgage or my car. My husband's car we recently paid off, and my car, by the time we have all of our credit cards and everything paid down, my car will then be paid off. So this does not include those two things, but the majority of it is credit card debt and then also a small personal loan, and total that we're trying to pay off is about $45,000. Now you're probably like, how the hell are you in $45,000 worth of debt? And I wish I could tell you exactly, but we had a lot of medical stuff that we had to put on the credit cards. And then we also had a ton of my kids' therapies. So my daughter was in feeding therapy 4 times a week for just over 9 months. And then my son was also in speech therapy. And insurance does cover the first 20 visits of his speech therapy for the year, but he eats through that pretty quick. So then after that, we were covering it with a credit card. And we have now completely stopped using credit cards. We're in the process of paying it down, but it is a very slow process. We've already paid down about $6,000 of it since I started this like 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago, something like that. But I'm using the money that I earn from TikTok and from sharing this journey to put as extra money towards the debt. So it's going faster than it would be otherwise, but that is how much. I'm curious to know if it's lower or higher than you expected, because there's been a lot of people who have told me like in their comment how much debt they have, and some is like way higher than that, and then some they like think they're in a ton of debt and they only have like $1,000 worth of debt. So I'm curious to see what you guys think, but now it's all laid out there.
I'm at $71,000 worth of debt right now, so let's see how we got there. So let's start with credit cards. I have 4 credit cards, but only 3 of them are in use. To begin, I have Discover number 1, which is $8,159, which is actually a Discover loan, like personal loan that I took out to pay off my actual credit cards, because the interest rate for the personal loan was cheaper than the interest rates on each card. So it's saving me money in the long run, paying it off. But for about a year, I wasn't working and was kind of depressed, so it got racked up a little bit. So $8,159 is a personal loan that I pay off every month, and the interest rate for that is 11.9%. Again, is a lot cheaper than credit card interest rates, which are usually like 20-something%. Next, I have my Amex card. These next 3 cards are like my everyday cards, and right now they do have balances, but it's my like everyday kind of like spending, so I will pay these off at the end of the month like normal. But this one has $305 on it. My MasterCard has $370, and then my actual Discover card has $13 on it. So those will get paid off at the end of the month like normal. So I don't really consider that debt, even though it technically is. Next is the big kahuna. It's the student loans. I regret going to college, but I regret how expensive it was and living on campus, okay? So this is broken up into 2 sections. So I have like my personal student loans, like government student loans, and then I have the Parent Plus loan that is in my dad's name, but I pay it because it was for my schooling. I'm not gonna make him pay that. Mine in my name is $45,924 with interest rates between 2.75 and 4.6. So my student loans are broken up by like different loans for each semester. So there's like a gajillion different small loans, and they all have different interest rates. But right now I'm on the income driven plan, and I make so little money that I have a $0 a month payment on it. So I don't have to pay it every month, but it's still gaining interest, so it still sucks. And then the Parent Plus loan that's in my dad's name that I do have to pay every month because he does not qualify for an income driven repayment plan. The total is $16,305 with an interest rate of 7.21.
Oh, wow.
So that one I pay $211.37 a month to pay that one off. So it's going to take a while, but that's all my debt. That's how I got there.
If you're trying to do this pay off your debt trend, there's a few things that you need to know if you want it to succeed. Please forgive the tear-stained face. My life has been an absolute hellscape this morning, so I want to try to help somebody else. So first of all, in order to qualify, you have to meet certain criteria, okay? 1, you have to have 10,000 followers. 2, your videos have to be longer than 60 seconds, okay? Longer than a minute. 3, in order for your videos to qualify, people have to watch from 5 to 10 seconds, interact with your with your post, your video in some kind of way by liking, commenting, sharing, reposting, things like that. For your qualified views, it has to be an organic view. It can't be somebody going to your page and seeing this video. That doesn't count. It has to hit the For You page or it doesn't count. People are just making 10-second videos thinking that, oh, I'm gonna hop on this trend and I'm just, I'm gonna do the same. No, you can't do the same kind of content. It has to be at least a minute or longer. Organically hit the For You page and people be scrolling and see it. Watch for 5 to 10 seconds, interact with it. Otherwise, it doesn't count. And I want people to succeed. So if you don't hear this information anywhere else, I hope you hear it here. With that being said, y'all, I just had to cancel my insurance. So yeah, your girl is hoping to get on the For You page because I got medical needs and I need insurance for it. I don't have insurance, okay? I just had to cancel it just so I can put food on the table because I've got a little girl to take care of.
It's sad.
I hate our government.
I do too.
Sucks and I hate it so much. So I'd rather spend my energy either trying to help somebody succeed with their goals or making somebody laugh because I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of the panic. I mean, I guess it was time for a meltdown. I think it was time for a meltdown. Just to, like, purge, get all this energy out. Like, anybody else feel like
Let me pause it right
Show
there,
me
guys. And and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Unless you're hurting yourself, don't do that because, we don't condone self-harm over here. But, it's okay to cry, y'all. It's okay to cry. It really is. You're gonna have those nights where sometimes you feel like the world's just weighing in on you, and you have no one to talk to, and you have no funds in your wallet. You got nothing, and you got to make that shit happen. I talk from personal experience, but that's sad, y'all. Like I wish, Talk Grant would put, these guys as little tags in the bottom corner like I do, cause we could, help this person out, give them a follow, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's crazy work. But yeah, don't feel afraid to melt down if you need to. Sometimes, crying it cleanses the soul. You gotta realize that. But let's get to it.
But yeah, I would rather help somebody out because I don't want people to feel like this. It sucks. Woo! Woohoo! Can you guys pray for me because I hate this day. It's not a bad life, it's a bad day. It's not a bad life, it's a bad day.
Overwhelmed, overstimulated,
Dad.
and stressed and disassociated are all things I feel currently as a 24-year-old single mom. Trust me when I say this in the best way possible. I'm thankful to have my house, but I'm stressing out so bad. My house is $3,100 a month, my mortgage, and I originally bought this house when I was still with my daughter's dad. We separated a year ago exactly, where he no longer lived in the house, so he was no longer providing the payment for the house, and so it's just been on me. And as much as I love having my house, the payment is what puts me like in this headspace every end of the month coming up to the first of the month. Now, not only that, I have $23,000 in credit card debt. I honestly don't know. After becoming a single mom, I ended up pretty much adding more debt to myself because I was having to use my credit card to pay for groceries, to pay for diapers, to pay for the basic necessities that me and my daughter need day to day. And it wasn't until earlier in
Okay, let me
August.
pause it right there, guys. So, this is actually, I guess, this is actually controversial, right? Because she right there said, okay, well, I was with my daughter's dad, which he's no longer here, and he's no longer providing payment of the house, which he shouldn't. He's no longer there living there. I mean, but he should still be providing for the kid. So hopefully, that's getting worked out. But okay, so what would have been smart is when they were house searching, they did not need a 3-bedroom for 3,100. They could have probably found a 2 bedroom, you know, because they would have been sleeping in the room and then their kid would have had their own room. And yeah, it's a smaller space and depending on how much things you have, but you could have made it work that way. You know what I mean? So, and mortgages are wild, but you can find them. Or I don't know what state she lives in. That's actually very true, depending on the state that you're in. You know, because let me see. In Arizona, 3,100 for a 3 bedroom. Yeah, it's actually kind of on the lower side, honestly. Maybe 2,800, but yeah. So damn, that sucks. Let's get to it.
I decided to start keeping my daughter home where I was no longer paying childcare, and that money from child support was just, for my daughter to have here at home versus just all of it going to childcare. So since then, my credit card usage has stopped. I've been able to, pay for all my necessities since she stays home with me, and I've been able to manage my house payment. And I don't know. I feel like I'm already open with other parts of my life, so I might as well just share this part of my journey where I figure out what to do with my living status, whether I keep the house, whether I sell it, whether I find more roommates, or I just, tough it out. Now, as of right now, I'm just toughing it out. I actually started a new job next weekend. Well, a second job next weekend on the weekends. Since I don't have my daughter on the weekends, she goes with her dad. I might as well work like at an actual job at an establishment as a server. So I'm so excited. I don't know. I just felt like being vulnerable, and I know vulnerable isn't always the best thing. I don't know. Hopefully, my TikTok page can grow. So I haven't been so active on here just because I've been in a different headspace.
Shit, I agree with that. I paused it right there, guys. Yo. So my TikTok page can grow. Okay, so I've been on YouTube for I think about 6 or 7 months, right? And here, I'm gonna post my analytics right here. Boop. So there's my analytics, right? And so I've been on the platform for about 6 or 7 months, and that's how far I've gotten. Like, it's when they say YouTube's on easy mode, it's really not, yo. And I got good thumbnails, good titles, I'm consistent, and you guys get something valuable from this. You know what I mean? I talk about valuable things. I talk about, things about self character, to build your self character. I put gameplay. I don't just do everything, but I do things that are to me that are entertaining, that are good. And then here, let me post this right here. Boop. That right there is my TikTok page. And I get traction, don't get me wrong, but yo, to get the followers is it's kind of stressful. You know what I mean? But we're still working towards it and we're not going to stop. Let's get to it. Really relatable though. Really relatable.
Ando muy desanimada lately. Like, I just don't want to do things. But es algo que primeramente Dios, this is just temporary. This is just one of those hardships that I have to go through. I will see the light at the end of the tunnel. I will see the light at the end of the tunnel with keeping this house, with paying my credit cards, and just, having and providing everything that I can for my daughter, for her future, Here where we are, we have amazing friends and family near us. I don't have my parents as I wish I did, but eventually maybe my parents will move up here. Who knows?
Hi. I am going to be brutally honest here. There is something that I am kind of ashamed about. And that is my finances. I've just spent about 2 hours on the phone to First Eon because I owe £1,000 on my energy bill, and they advised me to contact Step Change. So I have spoken to Step Change, and the fact of the matter is that I spent too much money. I have not a massive amount of debt, but a fair amount. Car finance, a few tech things, my boiler finance from last year when my boiler broke, Apple Watch, and Eleanor's iPad that I bought on finance while in hospital. I could have just bought a second-hand
Let me
one,
pause it right
but
there, guys. See, and that's the problem with a lot of y'all people. You know what I mean? Unless you don't have the problem, but y'all keep financing shit. I got my Apple Watch on finance. Like, you didn't need that. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I can't talk shit. Well, no, I own my Apple Watch. Sorry, I actually own that. I didn't finance that. I think the only thing I honestly financed was my phone, and I had to because my other one was starting to drop a dookie. But I mean, I could afford it, you know? But and then the iPad. You didn't need an iPad, lady. You could have got an Android tablet that could have made do until you were in a better financial situation. You know, so well, I got on finance, and you know the rates on that are gonna be higher, so she's paying more in the long run. If she's not, if she's making minimal payments, she's paying more in the long run. Let's get to it.
I decided she needed a brand new one, because I can't just... Second-hand is not
Your
good
fault.
enough. I don't know where... I've always loved technology and new things. Now, just for anyone who wants to
Your own
come at
detriment?
me for managing my finances badly, just don't, because if you check my profile, my daughter was hit by a car. It's been an incredibly stressful period of time. And my ADHD...
You just buy new shit all the time?
I've always had issues with spending. And it is worse. It has been worse while I've been under this amount of stress. And since I've been home, my spending has been worse because I've been nesting. Just a couple of days ago, I bought a brand new washing machine on finance because the old one is not drying things properly, and rather than get it fixed or get it looked at, I wanted
I brought a I've had to pause it. I bought a brand new washer machine because the old one wasn't drying it properly. Look, I'm not trying to make fun of this lady, to be honest with you. Like, this is actually really sad. It's just how that, obviously, she's a little stressed out and stuff, but it's just how that happened, but like, you didn't need okay, say she was talking about a dryer. You don't need a brand new dryer. It's called putting a line up, it's called getting pins, and it's called putting your clothes up and letting them dry. Like, I don't think this lady knows what it is to struggle. Like, I've had to wash my clothes inside of the bathtub. I've been there. Light candles because the lights is out, Like, I've been there. But damn, this is I'm not coming at her, because she obviously has a problem, and anybody who has the mental health problem of spending, because sometimes I overspend. Sometimes I do too, but I mean not like that. But I mean, when I was a drug addict, yes, I was spending other people's money. It was sad. It was really bad, and people probably judged me. So yeah, no judgments on her or anything like that. She probably could have made smarter financial choices, but that's just wild work, guys. That's wild work. Let's get to it.
a brand new shiny one that has all the bells and whistles. It is an issue, I realise. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I was on the phone to the guy, and he was very lovely. The guy from Step Change, he was very, very lovely and understanding. And I almost didn't mention the finance for the washing machine because I was so ashamed that I took it out a few days ago when I'm contacting them about £1,000 debt for my gas bill. This stuff makes me happy until I have to admit it. But so what they have basically said is that on my income, They recommend that I pay what I owe each month, plus £42 total to my energy company. And that's what they recommend. Or alternatively, I can set up a payment plan with them, which will be a total of, I can't remember how much it was, but it will be less than my total bills entirely. And they basically manage all of my debts. And I will be paying a lot less than what I'm currently paying. However, that will go on my credit file. And may stop me from getting credit going forward.
Bankruptcy.
But I'm looking at this two ways. If I do this, I will probably be better off, because paying that amount, they say everything will be clear within a year. So I would have a year of paying this amount to step change, and then that would be it over a year and a couple of months, I think it was. So that is, but that will go on my credit rating thing, and I would probably struggle to get any more finance. I probably wouldn't be able to get a new phone on credit, and all of this stuff. But the other way I'm looking at it is that might be a good thing. It's sort of similar to when I switched banks and I no longer had access to an overdraft. Initially, that was quite a scary thing when you're used to being able to dip into that overdraft, but then not having the ability to was actually quite freeing, because I had to be much more on my finances and making sure that I had enough money, and when the money was gone, it was gone. So I'm kind of, those of you that follow me.
Yeah, sorry guys, I paused it right there. Yo, if you guys want to watch the rest of the video, definitely go to Talk Rant, right? Yo, so Talk Rant, I got some beef with you, buddy. You need to make sure that you put these people's, pages on the bottom right corner, or, at least give them some kind of credibility, because, what if someone wants to check them out, or, help them out, or, it just makes it better in the long run for the both of you. But because there's no copyright claims right here or anything. This is just reaction and entertainment purposes only. But yeah, so that's good that what it seems to me is she went through bankruptcy, and she's paying off her debts, and that's good. And when you have that set amount of money that you can spend and it's gone, make sure that shit's gone, guys. Don't dip into your savings. I've dipped into my savings so many times in my life, and now we have savings now, but we've dipped into that so many times in life. It's ridiculous, you know. And I guess I would say my biggest financial habit would be the dispensary, because I'd be smoking, but like not. I have a certain amount of limit I spend a week, and I try not to go over that at all, And if I have deals, even better. I don't just be like, oh, well, I got this on sale, let me get something else. I'll just get the deal and walk out of there, and then have more money, for later or something. But yeah, so that's the video, TenToez family, and yeah, I wanted to get down on this, and it's been a while since we've had a little meltdown video and a talk rant video. Let's get to it. But if you guys have student loans, any debts, or you guys are financially stressed, let everybody know what's going on, You guys could converse, lift each other up, talk about, maybe they have information that you don't know about, vice versa. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, everybody, and thank you for the subscriptions. We gained a new subscriber, everybody. So welcome to the TenToez Collective, and much appreciative. And also for the new subscribers, I've mentioned this many times, but 10 toes, right? That just means to stay grounded, stay your feet planted, and stay strong-minded. So that's what we are over here. But yeah, without further ado, wait. I meant to say farewell, and we'll see y'all into the next one later.